Hey guys, welcome to Simply Spreadsheets. Today we're going to be going over the concatenation function in Excel. What is the concatenation function? What does it mean? It means you're combining text and numbers to make something new, like merging names or creating unique labels. The function itself looks like this. You type in equals to get to your function, type in concat, open parentheses, and then whatever text you would like to combine. And you keep adding additional text as you go along. Let's go over a use case. You want to create a company email. How is your company email created? Usually it's first name, period, last name at company.com. First name, last name at company.com. To separate this out and how you would go about concatenating these things is you would take the first name as a piece of data. You would concatenate that to a period. So you would combine it to a period. Then you would combine that to the last name as a piece of data, because you're doing this over a bunch of different employees, and then you're finally combining that to the company email. To go through an example, say we have a John Smith working for us, okay? What we want to do is we receive his first name and his last name from, say, some data source, right? So from HR file, let's say. HR has everybody's first names and last names. Then what we can do is we can turn this into a concatenation to create the email. We'll say concat John. Next, we will add our period. And notice that we can't just add a period. Let's see what happens when we add the period itself. Right, it's the second piece of text. And close it out. It doesn't like that, right? It has to be a string, right? So anytime you're not referencing a cell, you need to put it in parentheses like this to turn it into text in Excel's eyes, which is a string if you're coding. So we're combining text here, okay? That's what these parentheses, these quotations are for, okay? And then we're combining the last name, Smith, comma, to make it, say, the next piece of text. The next piece of text is going to be at company.com, okay? And just like that, we have John Smith at company.com, and we can go and change that to Fred Smith at company.com, right? Now it's dynamic. Any data we feed it is always going to follow this rule, this formatting. So that's one use case for how concatenation is used. Let's go into some examples. Example number one, your boss gives you your first name, the middle name, and the last name of somebody who works at your company. What they want you to do is they want you to combine this into one cell. So we're going to say equals concat, their first name, comma, and we want spaces here, okay? So if we want spaces here in this concatenation, we're going to space it out just like that, adding the spaces between every single text we're concatenating over. So now this reads max space cash flow space powers, enter. And there we go. We have his entire name all together. Then we can go ahead and drag that down. And now we've done it to an entire 3 columns of data. Next example, right? So there's the concatenation function, but in Excel, there's another way you can do concatenation. And that's with the and symbol, or the ampersand. The way you do this one, very similar, but you're not using a function. You're using more of syntax built into Excel. So we're going to say equals. We're going to grab our first piece of dynamic text, max. And then we're going to go and. So and is saying combine these two things together, combine these two pieces of text together, is we are taking the first name and the space and the middle name and the last name, same exact output. On to the next example. This is, let's say your boss wants you to create a string, a single piece of text based on customers, emails, and passwords. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take the email address and the password, and we're going to turn it into this single line of text saying username is the email, semicolon, password is whatever the specified password is. So to spell this example out, we're going to go equals concat. We're going to take the first string we want, which is going to be, we can just say username like this with a space, okay? And then comma, the next piece of text. So the next piece of text is going to be the dynamic email. Next, we want to do a colon between the email and the password, so a semicolon, just like that. So that's going to be a semicolon and a space to keep them separate. And then we're going to say password with a colon. And then the next piece, comma, and then the actual password itself, close parentheses, enter. Just like that, we have a string of specifying the username and password separated by a semicolon. Now we can go ahead and do that the same way with the ampersands now. So that's going to be string username space and then it's going to be the dynamic email, another and colon, or quotes rather, to create a text, semicolon space password colon space, and then you close the quotes to complete the string and your password. That'll give you the exact same thing for both of these, and then you can go ahead and complete the fill. We're going to double click up here to expand out to make sure you can see everything. Just like that, you have your username password string. On to example 3. So for example 3, this one's a little more complicated. We're combining more things with more functions this time, right? Okay, what your company wants is a unique ID based on the person's first name and their last name combined together. So the first character of the first name, so in this example, that'd be the M from Max, and the last 3 characters of the last name. This is very common across companies for network IDs. So first letter of the first name, last name's last 3 letters, and then the very end is going to be a unique ID. In this case, our company has a 6-digit badge ID. To start, this badge ID is something we need to create for these individuals working for the company. We can either include our own badge IDs or our own unique IDs, or we can generate our own badge IDs. So in order to do this, clear that data out and clear these out. So we're going to do something called a rand between. So this returns a random number between 2 numbers you specify. In this example, we want to do a 6-digit number, so we're going to do 100,000 as the bottom number. And then we're going to do another, the next largest, the very largest 6-digit number, which is 999,999, and that gives us a random number between those 2 numbers. And then we're going to drag that down, do the autofill there. Next, we're going to take the first character of that first name, right? So we're going to start our concatenation, concat, and then we're going to say we want the first character of that first name. So in order to do that, we're going to type in left. What the left function does is it returns, you have to select whatever text you want, and then the number of characters you want to take from that text starting from the left. So we're going to take max as our text we want to cut from the left. How many characters do we want to cut? We just want to cut the first one. So we're going to say 1. Okay, and just to show you what that looks like, you just get that M. Okay? So now the next thing we're adding to this is going to be the last 3 characters of the last name. So it's going to be the same function, left, select that text there, comma, 3. And then show you what that looks like. Now we have mpow, and then we want the first 4 digits of that unique badge ID, right? We want 4 digits at the end of this string, this concatenated piece of text. Another comma there, and then we're going to select the unique badge ID. But instead of just being the unique badge ID, we're going to go again left with the left 4 characters. This is a great example for concatenation. There we go. So we've technically completed what is asked of us, but commonly when employees are shown these badge numbers, they're all lowercase, right? So right now we're dealing with capitals. What we could do is we could go back in here and change all of these to lowercase, or we can include another function in here to simplify our lives. So what we are going to do is we're going to use the lower function, and this converts all text to lowercase, right? So we're putting this around the names that we picked out here. So the first piece of text was the first name, the first letter of the first name. We're adding lower around that. So this piece is now the first piece of text. So you notice that the first name is all lowercase now. So now all we have to do is do the same thing with the last name. So we're going to do lower, and then right before that comma there, because that's the next piece of text, click enter, and then we're going to expand our data down, and just like that, you have it all lowercase. Now, to finish this off, we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to use the ampersand or the and symbol version of concatenation, just so you are experienced with that as well. Both kinds are used in different situations. What we can do now is pretty much copy this logic here and chop it up a little bit. We're going to take all of our commas and just turn those into and symbols. That's following the exact same logic. Click enter and you get the same outcome. And one thing to keep in mind is the random function, it refreshes every time you make a change to your spreadsheet. So if I change this, click enter, it's going to refresh the random numbers. Just keep that in mind. Once you're done here, what you'll do is you'll just take this and give it to everybody, and these are now their permanent IDs. And you can copy these, paste this text, and now they're stored and they're not going to be changed if these ones get changed, right? So now these are their IDs. This is how it's going to stay, and you can just get rid of the rest of the spreadsheet. So I hope you learned something today. I hope you enjoyed the video. We're going to keep creating simple Excel tutorials just like this. If you'd like to see anything specific, anything different at all, leave a comment below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. This has been Simply Spreadsheets.